What I'm going to talk about tonight is really what metabolism is, trying to dispel the myths that are out there about metabolism. Sometimes in the media we only get half the story, or we really only see in one direction. So we're going to go through lots of stuff. If you have questions, this room is kind of big. I'll try and repeat the question. I'm real informal, so speak up if you like. Otherwise, at the end, I'll have a question and answer at the end. So first of all, I'd like to go through all the facts about metabolism, weight loss, exercise. We're going to touch on all of those things tonight, and I could talk about those things for days and days and days. Unfortunately, I only have an hour, so I'm going to try and keep it to the basics. And you can take my card along with you if you have questions. You can get in touch with me later. Basically, we have a very, I think, a dire situation in the nation with obesity and being overweight. And now it's trickling down into our children. The evidence and the facts that I get, I usually pull from the CDC, and I pulled these about a year ago. So I'm thinking now these are probably worse. Okay. Obesity actually costs our nation over $123 billion in healthcare. And with healthcare, that is another crisis we're having, is a lot of chronic disease, and your health can be prevented from just doing a couple simple things. Unfortunately, those two, exercise and diet, they're difficult for a lot of people, very difficult. And, it goes to food addiction, not wanting to exercise, the way you've grown up your whole life. And really, the way we are in our society now, we are much more sedentary than we've ever been due to technology, for the most part. Obesity is actually what they define as a BMI of greater than 30. And I've put up the calculation for you if you want to do your BMI. BMI doesn't work for everybody. It will not work for those who are very dense with muscle, such as a large lineman who has no body fat. It won't work for. It does work fairly well in the general population. And we use this a lot with the community as well. Simply put, calories in, the more calories you eat than what you actually burn, that's when you gain weight. Okay? There's all different types of diets out there that say, if you eat all protein, doesn't matter, you can eat whatever you want. Well, no, or there's so many different diets out there. What I want to get across today is if you are on a diet that you cannot maintain for the rest of your life, that is not adopting healthy lifestyle change. And you won't be able to maintain that weight loss if that's your goal. There's lots of benefits with weight loss. Also, there's lots of health benefits, and everybody knows that there's a whole array of lists of all the benefits of exercise. Benefits of a 20-pound weight loss, though, makes a big difference in your cholesterol. Also, it helps in your control of your blood sugars. Diabetes is becoming more and more prevalent all the time, or more and more, definitely. We're also starting to see that in kids as well. So, and a lot of your blood sugar control can be controlled with exercise. So, it's just one part of your medicine is your exercise. So, okay, if you didn't get that before, I put it in again. Being physically active for life. How are we going to make, and just so you know, I'm going to get to metabolism here. I'm just building up for it. How can we make everybody be physically active? I've been in this field since early 90s, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but I think it is. And basically, if you don't want to change, you won't change. So you have to have the will to want to change. to do more, to exercise. Okay. These two, along with diet, are probably the two most difficult behaviors to adopt, especially if you have not grown up in that type of environment. Okay. What is the number one reason why people don't exercise? Time. People say time is the number one reason. Inconvenient, self-conscious, poor health, lack of facilities, poor weather. There's lots of reasons why, but we need to make it 30 minutes. Really is not a long time. So 30 minutes a day. And actually what I've just read recently is that they're thinking of raising that up to 45 minutes per day because of the amount of exercise that people are not getting. So for me, I feel like any type of activity you do throughout your day is going to help at this point. So trying to fit it in wherever. Common reasons why we fail to change behaviors. Very evident in a lot of, I tried to make a list of all the ones that I hear quite a bit. So one of the big ones is people fail to make the right goals. So if you say, my daughter's getting married this summer in July and I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Well, okay, how are you going to get there? What are the steps you need to take to get there? So you need to make small goals. It might be that I am not going to have dessert 2 times out of the 7 days a week that I eat dessert for this week. Next week, we take another day off. Or I don't walk at all. I'm going to try and walk twice this week for 30 minutes. Another good one is today I'm going to wear my pedometer and just do my normal activities. Tomorrow I'm going to wear my pedometer and see if I can go 500 more steps. So small goals is what's going to get you to the big goal. So you really need to do that. Other things, another thing that is really big is the environment around you. What are the resources you have available to you? Who is supporting you in that effort? And is that going to help? Okay, so that is the two biggest things that I feel like where we hit a roadblock. Other reasons that we fail to get exercise, I've just reiterated. I'm just reiterating what we just talked about. So those who are successful in staying active, it might be that they grew up around it, their parents exercised, they have somebody they exercise with. It's a lot easier to eat better if everybody in the house is eating better with you. Okay? They set realistic goals. And they also know the value of the benefits. And really, if you can make exercise or eat better for like 6 weeks and make it a habit, you are more likely to stick with that habit. And then if you do fall off the wagon, it's easier to get back on the wagon if you can do that. So a small goal might be that if you can get to that 6-week point, you'll see the change and the difference in how you feel. So, training metabolism is actually the proven way to lose weight, increase energy, and improve fitness. And so what do you think metabolism means? Nobody wants to talk today? Anybody?
I think it's the rate at which your body burns calories.
Yep, I think you're close. That's good. A lot of people say, I just can't lose weight, my metabolism's slow, or things like that. And that is correct. Metabolism is really an oxidative process, which is kind of a big word. But basically, it's combining food with oxygen to release the energy your body needs. Oxygen is very important in this process. Okay? Metabolism is what it takes for your body to live, your brain to function, your heart to pump, your food to digest. how many calories does your body need in order to sustain life? Okay. Now, then we get into BMR, RMR, and EMR, which is basal, resting, and exercise metabolic rates. And up until now, those have been very hard to measure. And they've been measuring them in labs for a long time. But they're very difficult and very expensive to measure. Metabolism is typically measured in calories. So I'll say it one more time. When the calories you eat match the calories you burn, you maintain a constant weight. When they measure food, they're looking at the oxygen and the carbon dioxide coming off the food. That's what measures the calories. They do the same thing with people. Okay. A major fraction of your daily energy comes right now, how you're sitting. It's called your RMR, your resting metabolic rate. So that is really what we want to focus on when losing or, training or losing or gaining weight. Your resting metabolic rate. Okay. Resting metabolic rate is pretty much sitting in a chair and not moving. Okay. I mean, we don't do that all day, but we do sit quite a bit of the day. Sleeping is very close to your basal metabolic rate, where you're at total rest. That's the basal metabolic rate. But most of your day, you're in a resting metabolic rate. Okay. Metabolism decreases by about 10% per decade after the age of 30. And a lot of that is attributed to being less active. It's not that you're in menopause or it's because after the age of 30, your muscle mass begins to deplete at a faster rate. So we have to keep that muscle mass up as much as we can. Okay. Metabolism is affected by a lot of things. Age, gender, genetics, your mom and dad, you can thank them a little bit, and diet and exercise. So what are the ones we can control? Diet and exercise. So that's what we focus on when we talk about metabolism. This is actually a study that was done in the 80s. So we know they've been studying metabolism for a very long time. And basically they measured 5 women, the same height, the same age, the same gender, they're women, and the same weight, if I didn't say that already. But what they did is they estimated through it's called the Harris-Benedict equation. They estimated that, and their estimations were all around right at the same 1720, or 1740, I'm sorry. I think that's a typo. But look at their measured metabolic rates. They're so different. Okay. Woman number 5, it looks like she probably has more muscle mass than any of them. So she was burning more calories at rest. That's great for her. She can eat more. She probably burns more during exercise too. And she's sitting pretty good. Now, woman number 1 can only eat 1,200 calories a day. She probably has less muscle mass. Could be because genetics. Maybe she is exercising. But all these variables are taken into account with a metabolic rate. Okay. So there can be 1,000 calorie margin of error with this equation. So the realities of metabolism and your resting metabolism is studies show that if you can get 7.5 hours of sleep or more, it will help keep your metabolism up. So, and I think some of that is attributed to the fact that when you're tired, you choose poor foods to eat. You don't want to exercise. So really getting your sleep. Keep exercising, because we're all exercising. That keeps, and that goes along with strength training. Strength training adds muscle mass. Just doesn't have to bulk you up and make you huge, but the more muscle mass you have, the more calories you burn. Adding variety to your workouts is good. So doing a variety of things will help. It shapes your muscles in different ways, works on different muscle groups. And portion sizes, minding what's on your plate and eating the right things. Okay, because that does make a difference as well. So I know I keep telling you a calorie is a calorie. A calorie is a calorie, but there's just another component to that. So if you don't know the whole equation, it's hard to really understand. This is what we recommend for carbs, fats, and proteins. Okay? Proteins are your building blocks. They help recover your muscles after a workout. Okay? Fats are good too. You need to have some fats. Fats make you feel satisfied when you eat, and some fat in the body is good. So you need to have some. And then your carbs. That's where you get your energy from. Carbohydrates, you can get 4 grams or 4 calories per gram of carbs. Same with protein. Fats, you're getting 9 calories per gram. So if you eat, you can eat more if you're eating those carbs. Okay? You get more calories out of carbs and proteins. So you have to still watch your fat. And it's easy to get to 30%. The calories out, those are the things that we want to work on, the RMR. And the way we do that, that is the biggest component, is how do you burn calories at rest? What does your body burn at rest? Does it burn carbs or does it burn fat? Can we change that? Yeah, you can. So, and then of course your exercise and your lifestyle are a big part of it. Okay. So I just kind of talked about your carbs, proteins, and fats. Do you guys have questions about the carbs, proteins, and fats? Okay. So, good weight loss plan includes healthy eating, physical exercise, accountability, group support. How are you going to make that behavior change? And outcomes measures. That means that those who have tools to help them with their exercise tend to stick with their exercise more. And those are all new studies coming out. But like, let's say we do your measurements to start, and then you do your measurements at 4 weeks. Those outcomes really help you stay with the program. If you wear a heart rate monitor, you get immediate feedback from your watch, and you know what it is. That's an outcome, immediate outcome. You'll stick with your program longer. Pedometer, you wear a pedometer, and you measure your daily steps. You're more likely to keep doing that and wearing it. Outcomes can drive your behaviors. So, and that's why you see a lot, some of the places in town, they take a before picture of you, and then they take an after picture of you. It works. People like it. So, you know, and then I say, well, don't weigh yourself every day either, because that doesn't come right off. You want to, you know, weigh every couple weeks. So choose a healthy eating plan. How are we going to do that? Most people, we need to lower your calorie intake. Not everybody. Some people, we need to increase it. But most people, we need to decrease it. So eating smaller portions, and I'm not kidding, using a smaller plate, it works. It works well. So just getting a small plate. Second goal, focus on your health. What are the things you can do to decrease your cholesterol, blood pressure? If diabetes runs in your family. Third goal is just developing habits that you can maintain forever. Okay. So, always have to have a food guide pyramid when I talk about nutrition. This one's a little bit different. What I tell people is, focus on your fruits and your veggies first, and the rest will come. If you can get a lot of those in per day, which is 7 servings, you're going to be in good shape. And 7 servings seems like a lot, but it's not, because you want to measure your servings. They say an 8-inch medium banana is a serving. Well, some of those bananas are like, pretty big, so sometimes they can be a little more. Focus on your dark greens, your yellows, all your antioxidant veggies and fruits. They are cancer fighting, and they are very good. Citrus as well. So, when you're exercising, you do need more protein, and I got a little formula in there for you so you know how much you need. As your calories go down, your protein requirements will go up or stay the same. Okay? So when you expend more calories than you're eating, some of that protein you eat is burned for energy too. So this is how much protein you need. And it's per kilogram of body weight, so you have to convert, I apologize, from pounds to kilograms, which is 2.2. Okay, so here's a calculation. You take your weight, divide it by 2.2, and times it by your ratio, and that'll give you how many grams you need to eat per day. Okay. Okay, so eat adequate protein. And the other thing is you want to eat primarily your plant proteins. Your animal proteins are high in cholesterol and fat, so you can get a lot. 3 ounces of meat is 1 serving, but choose your leaner meats if you're going to tuna, chicken. So what is a resting metabolic assessment? It's where you, there's different ones out there, but primarily you breathe through a tube. And it measures oxygen consumption and carbon dioxide production and ventilatory rates. And they kind of do the same thing with food. But it assesses how many calories your body needs for the day. So that is, resting metabolic rate is what your body needs to function. Okay? So here is a sample of one. The nice thing about resting metabolism is if we know what the number is, this actually says 1581. I'm sorry if it's, this is the RMR, 1581. This is me. So if I eat 1581 per day, I'll lose weight. Why do you think I will lose weight? Yeah, because I'm not sitting all day. That's what my body needs to just function, just to be sitting. So if you do have to add in a little lifestyle component. So after my lifestyle component, it goes up to 2,200. So if I eat 2,200 calories a day, I will maintain my weight. If I eat 2,200 calories a day and exercise, and I burn 400 calories, I'll lose weight. If I do that every day. If I continue to do that. Okay? If I eat less than 1,500 calories a day, I'll probably lose weight for a little bit, but I'll plateau and my body will go into what's called starvation mode. My body needs 1,500 calories to function, and if I'm only eating 1,000 calories, it's going to start hoarding the calories I have, and it burns those calories at a slower rate. And then plus you're going to feel horrible. How many of you ever gone on a low-calorie diet? You don't feel good. You feel good for a while, but then you're like, oh, this is horrible. So when your body starts to burn calories at a lower rate, your RMR drops. Well, then when you can't take it anymore, you start eating 2,200 calories again, and there you go, gaining weight. And that's what we call the yo-yo diet syndrome, is not enough food to too much food, RMR keeps dropping, and then you just gain more and more, okay? So there is where you can lose too little. Now, this is what I find with a lot of, I see it a lot in women. If I eat 1,700 calories a day, I'm functioning, right? Oh. But then I go exercise and run for an hour, and I burn 550 calories. I've now gone down to 1,200 calories total, because I'm subtracting that from how much I ate that day. I'm below the 1581, and I will be so frustrated because I'm working out so hard and I'm not losing weight. Does that make sense? So regardless of how much you exercise or eat, you need to stay above your RMR. And that is very hard for some people, that you can eat less. And I'll tell you a story. I have a physician in town who, I showed her this, and she's like, oh, come on. She goes, but she says, I eat once a day at night when I get home from work. I get up in the morning, I get my kids off to school, I'm busy, I go to work, I see patients all day, I don't have time to eat. But when I come home and eat dinner, I eat this huge, huge supper. And she says, I've probably gained a pound a year over the last 20 years, and now she's overweight. But she's like, I don't barely eat anything, I don't get it. So we did her RMR, and we found out what it was, and we had her eat 5 times a day. In the morning, 10 a.m., she brought, I gave her examples of what she could put in a baggie, and she did that for 4 weeks. And she didn't add exercise, and she ate more, and she even called me, and she's like, I'm eating so much. I feel like I'm eating more than I ever have before. Well, in reality, I bet she was, one, eating less, but she was eating healthier, but she lost 5 pounds. So she wasn't eating enough, probably. Or she was eating so much at night and her body is going like this, because just about when her body's starting to go into starvation mode and it's confused because it's not getting food, then she has this huge meal and just throws everything way off. So it's really good. It really helps your metabolism.